Okay, picture this. You're walking through a forest, deep in the night. There's no moon, no stars, but there's this weird, soft green light coming from the forest floor. It's not sci-fi, it's real. It's the work of bioluminescent fungi, just turning old wood into these natural lanterns. But what if that ghostly glow is more than just a pretty accident? What if it's actually a kind of communication, a language we're only just starting to figure out?
So you have to ask the obvious question, right? Why? Why would a fungus, of all things, go to the trouble and spend all that energy just to light up? For a long time, the scientific world had what seemed like a pretty simple answer.
And that answer? It's just chemistry. A lot like a firefly. There's this molecule, Luciferin. It gets oxidized with a little help from an enzyme called Luciferase, and boom, that reaction lets off energy as light. Simple. Case closed, right? Well, not quite. The real story, it turns out, goes way, way deeper.
To really get what's going on with this glow, we have to look past the little mushroom we see popping out of the ground. We need to go underground into this vast, hidden world that some scientists are even calling the fungal internet.
See, that mushroom is really just the fruiting body. It's kind of like the apple on a tree. The real organism, the tree itself, is the mycelium. This huge, sprawling web of tiny threads that can stretch for miles under our feet. It's a living transport system, and believe me, it is way more sophisticated than you'd probably guess.
Yeah, this network is incredibly active. It's constantly shuttling resources around to where they're needed most. It can beef up busy pathways and just get rid of ones that aren't being used. But here's the part that's really wild. Scientists have actually recorded electrical spikes traveling through these networks. They look a lot like primitive nerve impulses. This is not a simple organism.
And all of that brings us to a really groundbreaking new model, a new way of thinking that connects the simple chemistry of that glow to the super complex, network-wide behavior of the whole fungus. This is the big question that this new research tackles. I mean, if the mycelium is this dynamic, interconnected system that can send signals, could its light be more than just a chemical side effect? Could it actually be telling us something about the state of the entire network?
So, to dig into this, scientists brought in a key idea: coherence. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine all the little metabolic things happening across the network are like individual musicians in a giant orchestra. Coherence is just a measure of how in sync they all are. Are they all just doing their own thing? Or are they playing together in perfect unison?
Okay, so the old way of thinking was super straightforward. The brightness of the glow just depends on what chemicals are right there in that one spot. The luciferin, the enzyme, and the oxygen.
But this new model, it adds such a fascinating new layer. It suggests that the brightness isn't just about the local chemistry. It's also a function of the overall state of the entire network, its level of synchronization, its coherence. So the more in tune the orchestra is, the brighter the light shines.
Now, that is a brilliant idea, but how on earth do you test it? You can't exactly ask a fungus how synchronized it's feeling. So the researchers did the next best thing. They built a virtual one. They created this whole digital network that mimics the key features of real mycelium. And you can see from some of these numbers, it's not just a random jumble of connections. It has specific properties like clustering and efficiency that are all based on the biology of actual fungi. They wanted to make this simulation as realistic as possible.
And in their simulation, they could play with the variable they called coupling strength. Just think of it as how strongly all the different parts of the network are talking to each other. So they started turning up that knob, basically increasing the chatter between all the different points in the network.
And the result was pretty amazing. As that coupling strength went up, all the different parts of the virtual fungus started to act together, in concert. The network-wide coherence, our orchestra getting in tune, went up like a lot.
And here we go, this is the punchline of the whole experiment. The simulation showed a direct, really powerful link. As that abstract idea of network coherence went up, the model predicted that the physical, visible brightness of the glow would also go up. More synchrony literally means more light.
I mean, get this. The model predicts that just by making a network more synchronized, without changing a single thing about the chemical ingredients, the brightness could jump by as much as 25%. That's huge. It suggests the collective state of the network can actually amplify its own light. So, what does this all mean? If this model holds up, it really changes how we look at that eerie glow. It means we might actually be able to, well, listen to what the fungus is doing just by watching it glow. Now, it's really important to be clear here. On the left, you've got what is well-established solid science. We know that stuff. On the right, that's what this new framework is proposing. It's not saying the chemistry is wrong. It's saying there's another layer on top of it all, that the light isn't just a chemical accident, but a potential readout of how the whole network is organized.
And the authors themselves are really careful about this. They're not making some wild claim about fungal consciousness or memory. As they say right here, it's a testable systems biology hypothesis. It's a way of using network physics to ask a whole new kind of question about a living thing.
So let's bring it all back to our glowing forest. The big idea to take away from this is that the soft green light might be more than just pretty background noise. It could actually be a visual broadcast of the entire network's inner state, a flickering barometer of its collective coordinated activity. Which leaves us with one final, just tantalizing question. If we're only just now learning how to listen to this light, and if that light really does reflect the inner workings of this vast, hidden network, what on earth is it trying to tell us?